Oh, sorry. You don't answer Amen on your own bracha. Shh. The only time you answer Amen is B'nei V'rachma of Yerushalayim Amen, because we want to differentiate between the first three brachas of Benchi, which are biblical, and the last bracha. But otherwise, you don't say Amen on your own bracha. And even when you do, we learned that you're supposed to say it quietly. Now, the laws of Bruchas HaShachar, when you get up brachas in the morning, basically, if somebody gets up after midnight, after halach at midnight, and they're planning to stay up for the rest of the night, they can say all the brachas. Some people say you shouldn't say Anetzin Lasech Vivino, which is about the rooster, that you shouldn't say until daybreak. But let's say you heard the rooster earlier on, after Chatzais, which today we don't hear roosters, so then you would be able to do it then also. Now, but first, there's certain brachas that we say in the morning. Let's say Pekech Ivrim means Hashem opens up their eyes, that we're able to see. Nevertheless, a blind person is allowed to make that bracha, even though they're not able to see. How can they make a bracha Pekech Ivrim? So the answer is they benefit from those people who do see. Another person who does see is able to help them. The same thing, it says in halacha that a blind woman lights Shabbos candles with the bracha. The question is, but the purpose of Shabbos candles is to see what you're doing, and they can't see anyway. So the answer is they do benefit from it, because the people that are able to see and help them benefit from it, so they're benefiting from it. Same thing with Pekech Ivrim. Okay, there's a lot of different things that are not on practical level. Oh, now the interesting question. What does a woman say? A man says Shloyasani Isha, one of the three brachas at the end. Does a woman say Shasani Kirtzarnoi, which in some texts say that a woman says, I am made the way God wanted me to be made? Or does she just leave it out completely? And it's interesting, in the Alter Rebbe Siddur, it doesn't say the bracha Shasani Kirtzarnoi. And it was interesting, many years ago, in the different girls' seminaries, some girls' seminaries said Shasani Kirtzarnoi, some didn't say anything, Shasani Isha. Later on, they found out that in the Beis Harab, by the Rabbeim, the women didn't say anything, not Shasani Kirtzarnoi, and they definitely didn't say Shasani Isha, that they didn't make me a woman, because she was a woman. But they didn't say the bracha Shasani Kirtzarnoi. But there are a lot of, in Nusach Ashkenaz, a lot of places, the women would use the bracha Shasani Kirtzarnoi. But in Chabad, we don't. Now, what?
I thought we can only say the morning bracha when we recognize between two colors.
That's the bracha on tzitzis and tefillin. The brachas that we say in the morning, although that list of brachas, so if somebody's up a whole night, like Shavuos or something like that, so according to many opinions, if you didn't sleep, you can't say those brachas. Chabad custom is based on what the previous Rebbe told people, and that became the lesson, that we say it even if we're up a whole night and don't sleep at all. But everybody says that if you went to sleep, let's say before midnight, and then you got up at midnight and you stayed up, so then you can say all the brachas. The only question is about the rooster one, if you need to wait until day.
In the morning, you can say the one.
Yeah, then for sure. Once after Aleisa Shachar, for sure you could. Okay, next. From the time, this is very important dinim.
So the woman doesn't say, thanks for not creating me mad.
Maybe today's women will start saying that. Thank God that we're not. But meanwhile, no. The reason of those three brachas, by the way, this is a... It says, Shleasani Goy, Shleasani Oved, Shleasani Isha. God didn't make me a non-Jew. He didn't make me a slave. He didn't make me a woman. Right? Now, it's nothing derogatory about any of them. But we're actually thanking Hashem, is the men at least, that we have the opportunity to do more mitzvahs than the women. Women are not obligated in any mitzvah, positive mitzvah connected to time. Right? Like lulav and sukkah, and all those mitzvahs connected to time, women are not obligated in. So it works like this: Shleasani Goy, who only has 7 Noite laws. Next is Shleasani Oved. He didn't make me a slave because a slave is obligated. What's a slave? A non-Jewish slave bought by a Jew, owned by a Jew, that they're obligated in all the mitzvahs that women have to do, but they're still not Jewish. They're partially Jewish. And then Shleasani Isha. So the man is making a bracha that he has more obligations and mitzvahs than women do. So women take it as something derogatory to the women, like everything else they think is derogatory to the women. But it's on the contrary. The reason why women don't need the mitzvahs that they're not obligated in is not because they're lacking it, not because they're missing out, but on the contrary, the men need the mitzvah to connect them to Hashem. The women don't need the mitzvah to connect them to Hashem because they're self-connected without having to do the mitzvah. So it's not anything, God forbid, what women interpreted to mean derogatory for women. So what we're saying is the men are thanking Hashem that we have the obligation to do more positive mitzvahs than the women do. But the women don't need those mitzvahs to bind them to Hashem, to connect them to Hashem. Yeah.
All right. So wakes up, he's asleep, and then he wakes up before daybreak, and then he misses that bracha about the rooster. Can he make it after?
Yeah, he can make it afterwards.
After tefillah?
Yeah. No, he could say it before.
So let's say he forgets to do it.
He could say it afterwards.
What's the correlation between a woman and a slave having the same responsibilities? The woman's clearly at a higher level, and that's why she has.
The din is like this: when a Jew, we're not talking about a Jewish slave. That's called Eved Ivri. Eved Kanani, when it existed, it's already a long, long time that it doesn't exist. In the time of Second Beis Hamikdash, no, in the time of Second Beis Hamikdash. And Eved, the din is like this: when a Jew acquires a non-Jewish slave. Don't forget, everybody was sold on slave markets in the olden days. So when a Jew acquired a non-Jewish slave, the din was he had to get a bris. He, in fact, went to the mikveh. He got a bris. And he wasn't a full-fledged Jew. He was obligated in partial mitzvahs. So the Gemara, the Chachamim said, what mitzvahs are he obligated in? Like nobody is obligated in half mitzvahs. So he's obligated in the mitzvahs that women are obligated in. Then, if for whatever reason it is, the slave becomes freed, then he's obligated and he's a full-fledged Jew. He has to go to the mikveh again, but he's a full-fledged Jew. Now, the Rambam writes from the Gemara, what happens if you buy a slave, a goyish slave, and he refuses to do a bris? I'm not doing it. So the din is you work on him for 12 months to do it, and after 12 months, if he refuses to do a bris, you have to let him go. So therefore, it's not a correlation of women and slaves. It's slaves are obligated in all the types of mitzvahs women are obligated in. But because he's not born a Jew, so he's not even close to a woman. So we say firstly a Sani Goy. They didn't make us a non-Jew completely. In fact, they tell a story with the Rabbi Yitzchak Barditchev. Chabad doesn't do it. We start from Haidu. But a lot of shuls begin from Bruchas in the morning, saying it out loud. So Barditchev, whenever he was the Chazan, and he came to saying Bruchas, he left out the Bracha Shlei Sani Goy. He didn't say it publicly. So they asked him, why aren't you saying the Bracha Shlei Sani Goy? So Barditchev answered, the second I wake up in the morning and I realize I'm a Jew, I can't wait. I scream out the Bracha Shlei Sani Goy. So I can't say it twice. So I said it already. The second I wake up, I say the Bracha Shlei Sani Goy. I not allowed to, can't make a bracha in vain. He didn't say it a second time. But that's not the correlation is not in anything but that women has X amount, all negative mitzvahs to do, and all positive mitzvahs not connected to time. And an Eved is the same obligation of mitzvahs. But if he becomes freed, the Gemara tells a story, he mentioned the story to show how important davening with a minion is. The Gemara says, Rabbi Lazar came into shul with his Eved, with his Goyish Eved, came into shul, and there were only 9 people for the minyan. and there was no minion. So he freed his slave. It's a financial loss. He freed a slave who became a full-fledged Jew, and then he had a minion.
But you have to go to the mikveh again.
No, even you're right. The Rishain. By the way, the comment in Rishain asked that question. By the way, but the Beryl, but the evidence is a full-fledged Jew without the mikveh. What's interesting is because the Rishonim ask, the Gemara says in a different place in Gittin, the Gemara says if you free your non-Jewish slave, you're transgressing a positive mitzvah in the Torah. Lo elam bohem tavaydu. The Torah says about non-Jewish slave, they should work for you forever. And here, so the Gemara says in Gittin, B'chlal, if somebody frees a non-Jewish slave, he's transgressing a positive commandment. So the Gemara, they ask, how could Rabbi Lazar do what he did? He transgressed a positive mitzvah for the sake of a minion, right? He did something wrong. So a lot of the Rishonim, some Rishonim say it's not really a mitzvah, it's only a hint to it. But some of the Rishonim say davening with a minion is so important. He was allowed to transgress a positive mitzvah, which is passive, by the way. He was able to transgress a positive mitzvah just to be able to daven with a
We
minion.
just learned that he gives the Goyish slave a bris and a mikveh before.
Yeah, but again, he's still only obligated to mitzvahs like a woman, so you can't count him for a minion.
Already given a bris and a mikveh.
Yeah, but here goes to mikveh again. Okay, one sec. Machet, Shinus and Amaisa Mech Bebamayim Kim Shibla Gal Tato, Rabbi Hanan Minakashi Merat Baruch Sovi Revelaham to Mishnamad, Alina Chavet Man Sitka Yagdol Tato Vyadir.